The ghost of that other desperate for attention and relevance former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd arose in an interview between UK TV cable news channel GB News host and Brexit political leader Nigel Farage and Donald Trump that aired exclusively in Australia on Sky News this week. Farage posed a question to Trump about whether he could work with Rudd, given the many horrible things that Rudd has said about him in the past. It's not entirely clear that Trump even knew who Farage was talking about.
We also got China to think about, and our friends at Sky News Australia wanted me to ask you this. The AUKUS deal that's in place on nuclear submarines, America, the UK, Australia, very, very important deal. It's there to try and combat that huge growth, naval growth in China. But now, of course, things have changed in Australia. We've got a Labour government in Australia. The previous ambassador, Joe Hockey, I think was quite a good friend of yours. You got on pretty well with him. Now they've appointed Kevin Rudd, former Labour MP. I mean, he has said the most horrible things. You were a destructive president, a traitor to the West. And he's now Australia's ambassador in Washington.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Would you take a phone call from him?
He won't be there long if that's the case. I don't know much about him. I heard he was a little bit nasty. I hear he's not the brightest bulb. But I don't know much about him. But if he's at all hostile, he will not be there long.
I actually feel sorry a little bit for Penny Wong this week. She had to defend Rudd.
Does this show that it was a mistake, or at least very risky, for the government to appoint Kevin Rudd as ambassador, given his comments were well known and Donald Trump had already declared his candidacy at the time? And secondly, will the government keep Kevin Rudd as ambassador if Donald Trump returns to the White House?
In relation to the latter, the answer is yes. In relation to the former, what I'd say is this. Even Mr Dutton has expressed confidence in Mr Rudd. Mr Rudd is a very effective ambassador. He is recognised as doing, across this Parliament, as doing an excellent job in advancing Australia's interest in the United States. And I'd point you in particular to the phenomenal amount of work which has been done on AUKUS in the period that he's been ambassador. He's been extremely active in engaging with members of Congress on both sides of politics, and he is a former Prime Minister, a former Foreign Minister. His experience and skills mean he will be able to work closely with whomever is elected by the American people as the United States President.
No, I'm not buying it. It won't be possible for Australia to have an ambassador that has so publicly bad-mouthed the president. Rudd's future in that job, no matter how experienced he might be, is tied very much to the success of Joe Biden, or whoever the Democrat candidate is, on November 5.